guess what happens? He forgets to turn off the sensor and lock the front automatic door. And as I'm finishing this story, the door starts opening and closing by itself. We're working on a cyberpunk battle manga here. It's connected to most of my other stuff. I am both the writer and the illustrator. I sometimes get helped out by some people, some wonderful people that donate some of their time and whatnot. And we're working on a Kickstarter. So if you dig that, we're not going to pin this because we've got a charity link up. We're embracing these late-night radio host vibes. This looks great. Thank you. Thank you. The first 8 pages, by the way, are on the Kickstarter pre-save page, and the comic is technically published. I published it so I could file copyrights and stuff like that, but also so I could provide you guys with an arc. So if you want a free comic, I'll go ahead and link you guys to that as well. Go ahead and feel free to read it at your leisure and decide whether or not it's something you'd want to support. Whether you want a signed copy, whether you want a special edition with the 3 variant covers that we're planning, or if you want a copy of Chapter 2, because that will also be included in the Kickstarter before it actually releases on Comixology. So there we go. Hey, I'm actually getting pretty good at this. So I describe this cyberpunk battle manga as it's like if Dragon Ball had a Lovecraftian baby with Akira. All right. So you guys want a ghost story, and I'm getting distracted. So I have an interesting history with shadow people. I always got weird vibes in my childhood home in Bloomington, California. My brother claims that he saw shadow people in that house, and who knows if he's telling the truth, but I tend to think he wasn't lying about that. My dad lost his... basically, he squandered his fortune, and we had to move from my childhood home in Bloomington, California, to a mobile home park. So one of the reasons why I love Trailer Park Boys, by the way, is because it's so fucking relatable to me. I knew people like that. No joke. But this activity, feeling like like when I looked down a dark hallway or at the other end of the house, like I was being watched constantly, followed me to the mobile home. And I couldn't shake it. Couldn't shake that feeling that I was being watched. And I would eventually move out again and then challenge my dad in court for guardianship, and that's a whole other can of worms to talk about, but I won't bore you with that. My life is a little tragic, a little yeah. But I'm okay. I moved into another house after about 2 years, and something followed me there. And I kept I'd walk up and down the halls, and I would feel this presence behind me constantly. And then finally one night, and this is a little bit different than Shadow People, but I promise we're getting to it. I need to lay the scene so you know I'm not totally crazy. Maybe a little crazy, that's fine. But totally crazy? No, we're not totally crazy. Absolutely not. We're just a little crazy. We're just mostly dead. Mostly dead inside. So I had this thing where for about a year straight, I kept feeling like something was following me in this house in Grand Terrace. And I'd walk up and down the halls. I would feel it watching me in the bathroom. And it felt malicious, like it fucking hated me. So, like, I would even turn around and be like, what the fuck is this? You know, because I didn't know what it was. I believed that there were paranormal things in the world, but I didn't have a lot of experience with it. Finally, I had a dream, a nightmare, you might say. I was in my old bedroom in the mobile home, and something crashed through the window, and like my room was a mess. I had a bunk bed back then from when my brother and I were younger, and I just kept the bunk bed because why not, right? And it was a mess. There was stuff damage all over the place. There was broken things on the floor, and I was on the floor, and this thing crashed through the window and tried to attack me in my dream. And somehow I fought it off. I don't know whether I was key-eyeing or whatever. I was just directing all of my energy in the dream to getting rid of this thing. The intention, let's say. And it left. And then I didn't feel like there was anything in the house in Grand Terrace anymore. It was so weird, I have to tell you. It was extremely weird. So years go by. I grow up, I get into paranormal stuff myself, and I go to Santa Rosa Mine Road many, many times, witness those footsteps, those disembodied footsteps that I mentioned earlier in the show many times, and lots of other weird things happen there, but those are stories for another time, believe me. And I moved across country to the East Coast, where I am currently. Well, not where I am currently, I'm in Richmond currently. And I used to live in up in Northern Virginia with some family and what have you. And I was working on the night crew at Giant. If you live on the East Coast, you probably know what Giant is. Sorry, I'm gonna cough again. Wife, if I could trouble you to make some Earl Grey tea for me, that would be fantastic. Since I don't want to keep coughing into these wonderful, wonderful listeners and watchers' ears. That would be great. That would be great. Say it like the card. Earl Grey, hot. Wait. Make it so. Earl Grey, hot. Earl Grey, hot. How's that? Earl Grey, hot. Earl Grey, hot. Is that good? Like, is that a good impression? I don't know. But anyway, back to the Shadow People. I was staying at my sister-in-law's place and working graveyard shift. And it was very strange because I didn't get really bad vibes or anything from here, but I was listening to a lot of Coast to Coast AM, a lot of episodes about Shadow People, and I've always been into the paranormal, and apparently I'm just a magnet for this shit. So, one night, I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping in the master bedroom. This was the weirdest dream I've ever had, and I've had some weird fucking dreams, let me tell you. I was in a mansion, and this place didn't feel like a dream. It felt like a real place, like it was ethereal. I don't really know how else to explain it. And I had a camera in my hand, and it was so liminal because, and maybe someday I need to turn this into a thing, like I need to visualize this because it is stuck in my head so prominently. And I got up and started, and I guess I need to actually draw as I'm telling this story. I got up and I started walking around this mansion, this place, and it was eerie because all my family were on devices in this living room, right? But they weren't paying attention to me, they weren't talking, they were just glued to their devices. And I walk into this really open living room. So I go into this living room, and there's something really weird. It's like almost like an Adobe-looking staircase, but it's to the side. If you've ever seen something where a sideways staircase goes up to a door, the door's open and it's dark, and there's nothing there. But when I look through the camera's viewfinder, there's a shadow person on the landing, and it's got crimson, sharp oval eyes. And that's I remember in the dream being like, nope, I'm turning around. And as I turn around, I have the viewfinder, and it points towards the front door in this strange, strange place. And there is a shadow person with crimson, sharp oval eyes in front of the door. Now, I didn't explain something earlier, but I actually saw the Hat Man when I was younger. And I'm starting to... And I don't know if you've ever seen this guy, but he's creepy. And I saw him as a kid. So When I say I didn't see shadow people, that's only partially true. So in my childhood home in Bloomington, I saw this thing at the back sliding glass door as a child, and I remember covering my head with covers and going to sleep. And the next morning, because this room was an add-on to a rancher-style house, I could probably show my old house on here and it wouldn't be a big deal. But it pointed toward, and in fact, I will do that in a second, just to add visualization to this story, this true story. Like, I didn't see the crimson eyes, but this silhouette, this is basically what I saw. And the next morning, the sliding glass door, I could see that my dad, my brother, that one guy, Michael, were staring at the bottom right-hand corner of the sliding glass door. And it was shattered. Shattered. So, terrifying. And so this whole white section, my dad added on to this. So this is the original house. And this section was the first part that got added on. There was a computer room like right around here. And the sliding glass door where our room was, my bunk bed was like right here, if you can see that. It was staring out on this lawn. And I don't think I've ever told this in this quite manner. And our swing set was here. And there were some trees back here, and like these people have totally destroyed this yard, and I feel so bad for this house. But yeah, it was traumatizing. Anyway, coming back to the story. So this was around 2011, 2010. No, 2011. And, or 2012, somewhere around there. And I had this dream. So going back to, I'm looking through the viewfinder at the front door of this dream mansion. And this gets very weird. Because there's no way I can explain it. No way at all that I can explain it. So I'm looking through the viewfinder and this thing dashes at me, like, fucking tackles me. I was suddenly surrounded by shadow people and they were attacking me, and I was key-eyeing. I was, because I do believe that there is some truth to our ability to some kind of spiritual energy that we all have to a certain degree. And I don't know what that is. Maybe it's quantum non-locality. Maybe it's non-local consciousness. Maybe it's dark matter. Who knows? I don't know what it is. All I know is that directing my energy to push these things back in the dream helped me get away. But the dream just changed like that. Like that. And I was standing in line in the middle of nowhere. It was a liminal void. A white void, and I was standing on concrete. But I could still feel these things around me in the dream. And this is not even halfway through, by the way, because it gets weirder. It gets so weird, people. Okay, so I keep doing that because I can still sense these things near me. And then I finally wake up, and my ex-wife, wife at the time, was standing in the room, and I asked her because I was laying in the bed, and at the time we had just moved out, and I had just gotten this night shift job, so we didn't even have a bedroom where we were staying. We were sleeping in the living room. So I would sleep in my sister-in-law's bed during the day before my shift. So I woke up, it's the middle of the day, and I feel like there's just this oppressive energy around me. I see the static around my eyes. And I ask her to please leave so I can meditate. And I don't meditate as much as I should anymore. I haven't really had a need to do it as much as I used to. But that's a really freaky dream. Every time I'm attacked in a dream, I pull up a game menu and just quit the dream. That is so funny. That is so funny. Absolute So I meditate, and I visualize myself pushing this energy out. I'm not religious or anything like that. I grew up young earth creationist and evangelical, and I pretty much deprogrammed from all of that. I believe in evolution and all that now, long story short. But I do think that there is something metaphysical that does exist, that is intangible, that maybe our technology and science doesn't understand yet. That is... And I'm not going to try to explain it, because we don't know. And to try to explain it is fruitless. We can guess, we can make theories, but there's no way to, like, explain these experiences away. You know, there are so many things. It's very subjective, what I'm saying. So I hope that helps a little bit. If you're sitting here going, like, that didn't happen, that didn't happen to him, he's lying about that. But once I felt like I had cleared the room with my energy, whatever you want to call it, I got up, got ready for work, and I went to work. It was around midnight. I'm standing outside the automatic doors of Giant in Centerville, and I'm telling the night captain, Marcus, about this. And I'm going into exhaustive detail. And he's like, all right, we need to get started. And I'm finishing up the story as we're going into the grocery store to start the shift. And as I'm finishing up, and he's getting a cheap little espresso or a cappuccino from the machine up at the front of the store, guess what happens? He forgets to turn off the sensor and lock the front automatic door. And as I'm finishing this story, the door starts opening and closing by itself. By itself. He gets so freaked out, he walks up to it, shuts the sensor off, locks the door, and says, and that's enough about that. He was so freaked out. He didn't believe in ghosts. I don't think. He didn't believe in shadow people. I think he believed then. But that's not even the weirdest thing, people. Not even the weirdest thing. Okay, so we're going to go up until the ad break, and then I'm going to finish this story. In the middle of my shift, it's like 4 a.m. or something. It's still hella dark outside, and at some point, well, we will continue to derail you. Absolutely. Feel free to do that. And, you know, I'm supposed to do art outside of stream too, so don't worry about my chugga 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 choo choo. So we go into, I'm in the receiving department, and there was a nice Indian gentleman back there. And I mean, like, from India, not like a Native American. And he was a really cool guy. This guy was fucking cool. And we would shoot the shit sometimes whenever he was back there. And I was telling him this story. And when... well, actually, we might get done with this part, and then I'll move on to the roommate, the possession. When I get done with the story, I get up right until the end, and I'm telling him about what happened to Marcus too, and we hear 3 pounds, like someone banging their fist against the metal shutters for the dock, for the loading bays. And let me tell you something about this giant. This giant had a no noise policy before 7 a.m. It was like 4 a.m. No vendors were back there. And we opened the back door and we stared into that back parking lot, and there was nothing there. Nothing there. I'm a magnet for this shit.